Hello and good morning. I am Francis S. Cabigting, a MAD English student. Today, I will be presenting to you my study entitled Digital Game-Based Learning Material in Teaching Grade 8 English. The inspiration of the study is to improve and broaden the knowledge of the students in grammar awareness and writing. Also, a response to uplift the 21st century skills of the students. To start with, let's have the background of the study. English has constantly been a cornerstone of several academic programs in the Philippines. There is an enormous change in the curriculum, but learning English is essential in any curriculum, according to De Vera and Choco 2018. Whereas Valderrama in 2019 reported that Filipinos' English proficiency drops sharply based on EPI or English Proficiency Index. The Philippines falls from a 14th place for 3 consecutive years, and this requires immediate action in this education sector. Thus, the Department of Education conducted a webinar on teaching grammar communicatively in the Philippines in 2021. According to FND, Rachman, and Rahmawati, Rokyati, and Pertiwi 2017, the mastery of a language grammar is interrelated with linguistic skills. In addition, grammar is a difficult subject for many students. Sumalinod in 2018 stated that students failed to master a few competencies despite the repetition of the lessons in their previous grade and year levels. Thus, he recommended technology-based strategies. The study of Mendoza in 2016 affirms the study of ULIT 2018, where the students are weak in writing and sentence construction due to insufficient knowledge and weak vocabulary words. Based on the aforementioned studies, the students have difficulties in grammar and writing. Hence, Caparoso, Empig, Lahoy-Lahoy, and Magsayo 2014 highly suggest that the Department of Education should adopt game-based learning strategies to greatly develop the 21st century skills of the digital learners. Sansona, Talindong, and Toquero 2021 affirm that game-based instruction can be incorporated into higher education as it strengthens the utilization of game-based learning and uplifts the skills of digital learners. Whereas Jacob and Yunus 2019 claimed that language games in teaching and learning grammar are beneficial and useful to enhance learners' English grammar acquisition. Conversely, Cam and Tran 2017 highly recommended the use of games in teaching grammar as they prove that the students have a positive perception of grammar lessons when games are incorporated. Makalintal and Malaluan 2019 described game-based learning as creating learning environment in different games to engage learners and actively participate to create conceptual understanding and inspire them to seek further information. According to Almonte, Atienza, Ramirez, and Tugade 2010, using games, the players of or all the students participated and appreciated playing games through the majority of them, although majority of them did not finish the games. It was reviewed that the learners struggled to master the competencies despite the repetition of the lessons in their previous grade level. Therefore, or hence, the Department of Education urges to address the gaps and implement innovations and create instructional materials according to Abenes, Caballes, and San Luis in 2020. In support of this recommendation, the researcher designed and created digital game-based learning material from the list learned topics in English 8 based on the most essential learning competencies or MELC. The topics are signal words that indicate coherence, using modal verbs, nouns, and adverbs appropriately, opinion marking signals, compare and contrast parallel structures, using cohesive devices in various types of speech, composing effective paragraphs, and appropriate grammatical signals. So here is the interface of the digital game-based learning material. We have the startup of the application, learning English, and the lessons or the quarters from quarters 1 to 4. And then it includes the stars that can be collected throughout playing the game, as well as the different games that can be played in the digital game-based learning materials, such as word hand, crossword puzzle, metamorphosis, jumbled letters, e-writing, and the like. Let's have the theoretical framework of the study. The study used Edgar Dale's cone of experience theory. This model exhibits several theories aligned to an instruction design and learning process. It shows that using action learning strategies can result into up to 90% retention. In addition, people learn effectively through perceptual learning approaches. Perceptual learning involves sensory learning techniques. The more sensory channels available for interacting with the material, the more students will benefit from it. Instructors, according to Dale, should create instructional activities that build more real world experiences. In this study, Dale's cone of experience theory is anchored in the development of digital game based learning material. Since using games, it may help the learners develop their high ordered thinking skills and activate their visual and auditory skills as they start playing the game activities or the action learning. Moreover, mastery of the lesson is also targeted to ensure high retention rate. For the conceptual framework, the study aimed to develop and evaluated a digital game-based learning material focusing on the two least learned grammar topics for each quarter using the IPO model. This model has advantages since it provides a structured approach to identifying objectives and goals of a certain system, outputs, and how these outputs will be measured to evaluate the specific process methods. Also, this supports a gap analysis in terms of selecting what inputs are required to achieve outputs, according to Drake, Dow, and Hyman, Makuspi, Srinivasan, and Yakimashin 2014. Whereas in APA Dictionary Psychology in 2020, the input process output model analyzes and processes the inputs and are transformed into internal processes or to produce results the output. The paradigm of the study, uh, I used the IPO model, which is the input process output model. So for the input, the list learned topics for each quarter, grammar topics to be specific, they are the input in this learning material. So I have included uh, the list learned topics or competencies based on MELC in year 2020-2021. For the process, this includes the development phase and the evaluation phase of the learner of the learning material. Okay, this will be done or this will be evaluated by four English teachers who are master's degree holder and three IT or information technology experts. So the output will be the digital game-based learning material in teaching grade 8 English. Next is the research problems. Generally, the study aimed to develop and evaluate a game-based learning material in teaching grade 8 English in one of the schools in Angeles City for 2021-2022. Specifically, it sought to answer the following questions. 1. What are the listed topics per quarter based on MELTs? 2. How may the digital game-based learning material in teaching grade 8 English be designed? 3. How may the digital game-based learning material in teaching grade 8 English be evaluated in terms of content, design, or format, technical, and lastly, pedagogy? So, as the researcher, The nature of the study is a mixed method wherein the researcher both collects and analyzes quantitative and qualitative data. The quantitative data includes the result and discussion of the evaluated digital game-based learning material in terms of content, design, format, and technical aspects. On the other hand, qualitative data tackles the least learned topics or grammar topics in English 8 per quarter. Specifically, the study utilized the developmental research design, which stands for systematic knowledge in designing, developing, and evaluating instructional programs, processes, and products according to Nelson and Ritchie 2001. In addition, the study will employ the development of digital game-based learning material in English 8, process evaluation of the digital game-based learning material from the IT experts, and output, which is the digital game-based learning material based on list learned topics model. So the evaluators were three information technology experts and four English teachers who are master's degree holders and preferably teaching English for 3 to 5 years. They were responsible in evaluating the digital game-based learning material using the tool for evaluate on rating sheet for DE and ODEL modules. For the instrument, the researcher used the consolidated report on the list learned topics in English 8 based on MELT for the school year 2020-2021 of Bonifacio V. Romero High School. On the other hand, tool for evaluation rating sheet for D and ODEL modules has parameters for evaluating the learning materials content, the design, and the pedagogy. Each parameter consists of items descriptions marked as yes or no in analyzing the validity of the learning material. On the other hand, the researcher used frequency mode to analyze and describe the results. For the procedures, firstly, the researcher sought permission from the concerned heads, which is the first stage of the study. The development phase started after the approval. The development phase, on the other hand, the researcher used the consolidated report on list learned topics to be included in the digital game-based learning material. Initially, the design of the learning material provides background information of the lesson or topic, learning competency, and two digital game-based interactive activities, basis for tests and or assessment. Selected two games were also used depending on the topic or lesson. For the evaluation phase, after that, the evaluators consist of three information technology experts and four English teachers then evaluated the content, design, format, and pedagogy of the digital game-based learning material using the evaluation sheet or rating sheet for DN and ODEL module. Consequently, the researcher made some revisions and incorporated all the suggestions and comments of the evaluators and panelists. Lastly, the researcher submitted a revised copy of a digital game-based learning material to the same evaluators where in their recommendations and suggestions are already incorporated. The validation ended since all evaluators agreed on each factor on the evaluation rating sheet, indicating that the digital game-based learning material is valid. Let's have the results and discussion for each research objective. The first one is the result on list learned topics, competencies based on most essential learning competencies. So table 1 displays the list learned grammar topics based on the most essential learning competencies from first to fourth quarter. So most of the competencies were grammatical signals, transitional words. This implies that the students had difficulty in grammar, particularly in its appropriate use and in writing. This affirms the study of Sumalinok in 2018, where the students failed to master some competencies despite the repetition of the lessons, in their previous grade. Likewise, only 2018 alleged that the students find it difficult to construct a sentence because they only have limited English language knowledge. For the table two, uh, procedures or stages on designing the digital game-based learning material. Table 2 shows the design in designing the digital game-based learning material. The researcher religiously followed the prescribed format in writing learning activity sheets as mandated by the Department of Education as basis for the development of the digital game-based learning material. Furthermore, the researchers sought technical assistance from an IT experts who is an expert in developing games. Also, the IT expert program or the digital game-based learning material using Android Studio and SDK tools that serve as a tool to check and run the application. On the other hand, the researchers sought technical assistance from a graphic artist concerning the other media elements such as audio, background music, and illustrations using Procreate as a tool in designing. This evaluation implies that technical assistance must be provided since it requires technical aspects during the development phase. Table 3.1 presents the evaluation of the digital game-based learning material based on its content. Four or all the evaluators agreed that the content of the digital game-based learning material met the given factors. This means that the content of the digital game-based learning material is valid since it showed that the material includes lessons that are relevant to its main objectives, free from errors, and apparent language was used. This also adheres to the policies set by the Department of Education on guidelines and processes for LRMDS assessment and evaluation for non-print materials. Table 3.1, continuation. The content of the material should be consistent, accurate, up-to-date, logically developed, and organized. Promotes critical thinking, and content is relevant to real-life situations, and language is appropriate to the target user or level. So this adheres to the Division Memorandum 441 Series 2019 or the Division Guidelines and Processes for LRMDS Assessment and Evaluation for Localized Materials. Table 3.2, on the other hand, shows the results of the evaluation of the digital game-based learning material in terms of design, format. It appeared that the evaluators agreed the design, format of the digital game-based learning material has clear textual information and stimulates ease of reading between text as the user plays the game. Moreover, the design, illustrations, and other media elements are motivating. This implies that the game is viewed and played with engagement, according to Gormandi 2013. Affirms that using background music and sound effects can increase users' interest when playing the game. Moreover, text format is crucial in designing a learning material as it may affect the user's comprehension and ease in reading, for instance, while reading text passages or passage or direction, since Adler and Lungadi 2018 claimed that the choice of font and proper text spacing had positive effect on reading comprehension. So for table 3.3, descriptive statistics on the evaluation of the digital game-based learning material in terms of its pedagogical or pedagogy. So table 3.3 reveals the results of the evaluation of the digital game-based learning material in terms of pedagogical or pedagogical. The evaluators agreed that the digital game-based learning material has clear objectives. Cognitive strategies are given and activities are aligned to the main objective of the lessons. Moreover, It supports diverse learners with different learning styles, since the game also includes listening, reading, and writing activities that are embedded in the lessons. Moreover, it supports diverse learners with different learning styles, okay? Since the digital game-based learning material also targets the development of higher or order thinking skills of the user through playing various games in the application. Chong 2016 reiterated the importance of pedagogical capacity, or the PDC, as a conceptual framework. It highlighted the essence of the knowledge of the curriculum materials, personal practical knowledge, and knowledge of the learners greatly play a significant role in making teachers more proficient at the curriculum. Lastly, Table 3.4 indicates the evaluation of the digital game-based learning material in terms of technical. This further shows that the evaluators agreed that the digital game-based learning material is very accessible, since once it is downloaded, it can be played offline. Furthermore, it exhibits a user-friendly interface for the novice users as they navigate the game. The digital game-based learning material is useful and may be uploaded into learning management system for wide dissemination and ease of access. This also supports the recommendation of the Department of Education to address the gaps and implement innovations and generate or produce instructional materials, according to Abenes, Cabales, and San Luis in 2020. As for Serrano 2019, educators can employ digital game-based learning as an aid or to aid the students in developing skills. The study looked at the impact of digital game-based learning on K-12 student learning. Conclusions. In view of the findings presented, the following conclusions are: the list learned topics for the school year 2021 under the K-12 curriculum guide falls under grammar awareness and writing composition domains, particularly signal words that indicate coherence, using modal verbs, nouns, and adverbs appropriately, opinion marking signals, compare and contrast parallel structures, using cohesive devices, composing effective paragraphs, and appropriate grammatical signals for idea development. Two, the design and development of digital game-based learning material used the IPO model that follows a systematic process or procedure to obtain the desired outcome. Three, the digital game-based learning material was evaluated in terms of its content, design format, pedagogical, and technical parameters, indicating that the desired outcome, or the material, digital game-based learning material, is valid or acceptable based on the evaluation results. Based on the findings and conclusions, the following recommendations are offered. One, the researchers may conduct similar studies by adding more list learned topics or literature topics instead. Two, other researchers may consider using different models, methods, and tools in designing and producing digital game-based learning material to improve its interface and gameplay. Three, since the digital game-based learning material is valid, it is highly recommended to be uploaded to the learning management system for wide dissemination and accessibility. That ends my presentation. Thank you and have a good day.